I like how I can get all dolled up and, in a cute outfit, do my hair, do my makeup, and all of that, and just sit in my room. And it looks like I have this whole thing like put together and whatnot. Whole time I'm wearing bunny slippers. That's that's real creative freedom.
Put my faith in God. I'll 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 put my faith in God. So tell me where you wanna go. I wanna get to heaven.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another video. Woo! We as a society need to have a collective discussion and ask, why are rom-coms so bad? Like, in today's video, I am going to be having a very long discussion about something I'm very passionate about. Not just something that I'm passionate about as a watcher, but also as a writer, because it is one of my favorite genres, and it is also the holidays, and a lot of these movies tend to come out around this time, and that is romantic comedies. Now, is this to say that there aren't people that I believe can write good romantic comedies? Yes, but it genuinely baffles me, not just as a writer, but as a consumer of a lot of media, that romantic comedies have now fallen victim to one of three categories. It's either they fall victim to being an adaptation of a Colleen Hoover novel that is absolutely atrocious, a remake of an already good romantic comedy, an original movie where they have no chemistry whatsoever between the two leads, and if anything, the two side characters got more chemistry combined, and they probably not even finna be together by the end of the movie than the main characters do. And if not that, it is going to be an adaptation of some sort of Harry Styles fan fiction from like 2015 that I probably read when I was in middle school or high school or maybe even elementary school, considering the fact that I had way too much access to the internet at a young age. But that's another topic for another day. So, without further ado, let's get into why I personally believe romantic comedies are starting to go from absolute perfection to piss poor production. Before I get into that, however, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this. If you like these video essays, I will continue to make them, and even if you don't, I will still continue to make them because I enjoy them. So, the number one reason why I personally believe that a lot of movies and really even a lot of TV shows are starting to get really bad is because y'all don't have people in the writers' rooms. Y'all don't. Y'all really don't have people in the writers' rooms. And when it comes to writing, I know that the SAG after strike affected a lot of writers' careers. It affected a lot of writers. It affected a lot of TV shows. It affected a lot of the entire filming industry, not just terms in film and movies, but also filming and television. It affected pretty much everybody and their mama. And while it is absolutely important that writers get paid exactly what they should be getting paid because they are active participants in the development of something that is for our entertainment, I will not lie to you and say that even if we take out the obvious introduction of AI in terms of writing prompts and things like that, we also need to take into accountability that even before the introduction of a lot of AI in these productions, a lot of these people just didn't know how to write. And I think that one of the greatest examples of this is Tyler Perry, because it seems like every single movie that Tyler Perry has made past maybe like 2009 has been basically just really bad. Like, if we keep it in a buck, it's been really bad. Like there's nothing good about it. Even the romance in the plays or in the movie adaptations of these plays are not all that good. If we keep it in a buck, it's really not all that good. Not saying that Tyler Perry is a bad writer per se, but he's definitely not somebody that I would assume that I would put up there like at the status of like Langston Hughes or August Wilson. You know? Like he's one of them, but he's not one of them, if you get what I mean. For romantic comedies, although Tyler Perry is not a typical romantic comedy writer, he's more of a playwright that just happens to have a lot of his plays developed into movies, and they happen to have romance in them, and they happen to be a lot of drama. That is a normal thing. When I look back at a lot of romantic comedies that I enjoy, like The Wedding Planner, She's All That, what's another one that I used to enjoy? Love Jones, although it's not the most romantic of romantic comedies, it's a very realistic romantic comedy in comparison to a lot of rom-coms. But even things like that are like 50 First Dates, or even what's another one that I love? Always a Bridesmaid. That's a good one that came out in recent years. But the problem with a lot of romantic comedies that I have noticed personally, at least within the decades of the 2020s, going into 2025, and now we're about to be in 2026, a lot of romantic comedies tend to be very recycled, and a lot of them tend to lack this air of whimsy that I feel like we lacked in writing when it came. I feel like we lack in terms of writing, especially nowadays, where it feels like everything is just like falling apart and it feels like everything is going absolutely haywire. And granted, the world is absolutely crazy. The world is going to be crazy until the Lord and Savior comes and gets us for the rapture. But basically what I'm saying is a lot of romantic comedies lack this air of whimsy. And another thing that I also dislike about romantic comedies, which is part of why I feel like a lot of romantic comedies are also bad, is that they tend to fall under one trope, and that one trope seems to be, for some reason, enemies to lovers. Not saying that enemies to lovers is necessarily the worst trope in romance, or really the worst trope in romantic comedies in general, but I would be lying to you if I were to say that enemies to lovers is not the trope that seems to be absolutely obliterating a lot of the whimsy in writing. Because I feel like a lot of y'all just want to be like, oh, I absolutely hate you, I love you, I hate you, I love you. And I'm like, sweetheart, if I hate you, I don't have the capacity to even like you, let alone love you. So why are we romanticizing hatred? No. No, baby. We not doing that over here. Not around here, partner. Not around here, partner. No. Going back to the writer's room argument, though. The writer's room argument for me is the fact that y'all need to have people in these production rooms. Y'all need to have people in these rooms with the producers, the directors, the people who originally write it. Y'all need to have these people in the room. And let the writers on the film set. Because if the writers are the ones that develop this whole story, they need to be in the film production. They need to be involved. Get them involved. And I feel like so many writers have had their work edited, have had their work rewritten, or just straight up stolen without credit. Looking at you, Sam Levinson. But basically, what I'm saying is that a lot of these writers seem to be recycling a lot of these tropes, and just to no full complete avail. And even if you decide to adapt a screenplay based off of a book like To All the Boys I Loved Before, or even something along the lines of Into All the Boys I Loved Before, even something along like the After series, which did not need all of them dang sequels if we keeping it a buck. But basically, even if you look at movies like that are based off of books, a lot of those books have key details that get taken out whenever they are adapted into screenplay. And I don't know if it's just because I'm somebody who writes with the importance of every single detail matters, but when that happens in movies, I be getting y'all get what I'm saying. I be getting irritated. Actually, irritated is too little of a word. I be getting bad. I genuinely feel like there was something that was there. I don't know what it is. I can't put my nice little manicured finger on it, but I know it was something there. And when it comes to the writer's room, it also just feels like y'all are just pushing out movies just to push out movies. And I feel like another thing that also is absolutely insane when it comes to films not being produced properly, when it comes to romantic comedies especially, is the fact that y'all don't put actors that know how to act. Y'all don't put actors that know how to act and actually move a story forward. Like, I remember seeing the trailer of the movie Anyone But You, and it features Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell. And I remember seeing a clip of it on TikTok and immediately thinking, this is what y'all hyped up so much? Now, don't get me wrong. Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell are both very attractive people, and Glenn Powell is a very great actor. Sydney Sweeney, I mostly know her as Cassie from Euphoria, and she delivered the crap out of that role, but every other movie I've seen her in past that just feels very flat. If we keeping it a buck, it just feels very flat. So, with that being said, these two in a movie, I was thinking, okay, this might actually kind of work in the trailers at least. And then I see a clip of it on TikTok of one scene, because you know people love to put movie clips on there, and I'm thinking to myself, there is no way, like legit, there is no way. This is what y'all hyped up so much. This is really what y'all hyped up so much. This is really what y'all was flocking to the movie theaters for this. But even when it comes to my general problem with, you know, romantic comedies and really just movies in general that tend to get hyped up amongst like the young American lexicon and young pop culture that caters to young adults. And when I think of young adults, I consider young adults to be anybody between the ages of 18 and 35. But anything that tends to be marketed towards my demographic seems to be also weirdly anything that is hyped up by Colleen Hoover. And granted, there are a lot of people on TikTok that tend to disagree and actively want to stop the Colleen Hoover hype, myself included. Although I have not been on TikTok for real. I don't really go on social media like that anymore. But Colleen Hoover, a writer who has romanticized domestic violence, has also portrayed child sexual comment and commentary in books that did not need it, is now, as of recently, getting one of her books, Regretting You, adopted into a screenplay and into a movie, or at least I think the movie is actually out. I don't know. I did not pay attention. All I know is that there's two actors that are getting very popular apparently amongst people, one of them being McKenna Grace. And this movie is supposed to be a whole thing about a mom and a daughter processing grief of a father and an aunt, and there happens to be romance along the way. In my humble opinion, this just sounds like a plot for disaster. Like, honestly, I just feel like we just need to stop Colleen Hoover adaptations altogether, because one, most of them don't make sense in a movie production context. In a movie production context, most of them don't make sense. And not only do they not make sense in terms of a movie production context, they also don't really even make sense in terms of the book. Like, even if you read the book beforehand, and yes, of course, movies take out parts of books all the time, but even if you read them beforehand, it still don't really make sense. If we keeping it a buck, it really don't make sense even then. So why on earth are we acting like it should? And why on earth are we acting like it makes sense as a movie? Because with the entire controversy that It All Ends With Us got for being portrayed as a sort of romantic movie, despite the fact that one of the actors, the main male actor in the movie, Justin Baldoni, actually spoke out about the fact that the movie is tackling domestic violence. Like, where's the plot? Where is the plot? And this is what I feel like is another big problem with romantic comedies, is the fact that it feels like there are so many plot points and little to no direction. Y'all focus on the romantic comedy part of it in terms of creating that iconic moment, creating that still shot, creating that idyllic scene that makes this movie remembered forever on the internet. But when it comes to the general filmography of a director, of a writer, of producers, etc., etc., nothing sticks to the general American public. And I'm starting to think that that is another big problem, is the fact that because so many people, at least within the demographic of people 18 to 25, are starting to focus on a lot of things like nostalgia and trying to, look for a simpler time, we are left with movies that are not evolving and devolving with the mindset of people of our generation. And I feel like that is overall the major problem with film in general, but especially with romantic comedies, a film genre that is meant to bring whimsy and meant to bring escapism to a lot of people. We are doing basically what they did in 1975, where a lot of movies were tackling a lot of what was going on at the time. And while I do believe that we need political commentary films, 100%, we need documentaries that talk about various tragedies that are going on in this country, I would be lying to you if I were to say that this was not. You can't do that in a space that is already filled with escapism. Like, yes, art should reflect the times, but it should also provide at least a little bit of a beacon of hope. And this is why I believe that we need writers that can do both. We need writers, we need actors who can do both. Cuz when I think of somebody who wrote possibly one of the greatest romantic comedies of all time, and not only one of the best romantic comedies of all time, but also one of the biggest commentaries of black culture of all time, I think of the director John Singleton. Because John Singleton wrote and directed Boys in the Hood between the ages of 19 and 21. And during that time, it was the crack epidemic. And then a year after Boys in the Hood drops in 1991, he goes on to create the best romantic comedy, in my humble opinion, of all time, Poetic Justice, which is, yes, still set in the hood, and of course has all the police sirens as just an overarching fog amongst the entire neighborhood. But there is still hope of the fact of, hey, we may be going through some mess, but there's still hope at the end of the tunnel. There's still light at the end of the tunnel. There's still hope at the end of it all. And I feel like we live in a society where everybody wants to focus on the negativity. And whenever romance comes into the picture, it's always either, oh, men are absolute trash, I'm going to be looking out for myself, and then finding everybody on the way. Baby, no. Some people are not looking for themselves. Some people just happen to be content in their own being. Some people just happen to go throughout life and find people. I mean, that's what happened with me and my man. Cuz me and my man wasn't looking for nothing, and we just happened to find each other in the midst of our craziness. And now we're where we're at right now. But basically, what I'm saying is you can't focus so much on the fact of making something so realistic. And even if you make something so realistic and relatable, there still has to be a touch of, oh, this would never happen in real life. And I feel like that's what makes a good romantic comedy. This would never happen in real life slightly, but also in the fact of, oh, this can actually happen in real life. And I know that's a weird dichotomy, but it's something that I feel like needs to happen in pretty much every single movie that involves romance and comedy. Another problem that I personally have with romantic comedies, and I've noticed that as somebody who is an aspiring screenwriter and wants to have some work in the film industry, and even in other people that are film students that are either working to be directors or working to be screenwriters or working to be producers, or even like things like music supervision and things like that. I've noticed that a lot of us have this collective problem, and I'm so happy that we have this collective problem, and that is what many people like to call Netflix lighting. Lord, what is this abomination that I just spoke up out of my mouth? Because if we keeping it a buck, there is no reason as to why I should be watching a romantic comedy, or really any movie for that matter, that just looks like an absolute like filter all over it. Like, I don't know why, but in a society and in a world where technology and everything involving technology tends to be filtered, and really a lot of things do need to be filtered, but not my movies, respectfully. We do not need this heavy filter all over movies. The only time I want to see a heavy film with Netflix lighting is if it's a documentary that also happens to have minimal to no distinct archival footage. Because why on earth am I watching a romantic comedy, a movie that is supposed to be taking me out of places, taking me out of this belief system that everything is absolutely trash and I need a little bit of an escape? And yet, this movie looks like it could be an ad for a specific water bottle or a specific phone. Like, it gets to a point where everything just looks like a big advertisement. And in romantic comedies, this is absolutely atrocious. Like, I remember me and my man, we were watching the atrocious remake that is He's All That, which is the remake of the 1999 classic romantic comedy She's All That. And when we were watching it, first of all, it was already crazy to see TikTok within like the first like 10 minutes of the movie. And it was also even crazier, to me at least, to see that there were just product placements all over the dang movie. Like, I know that movies have sponsors and I know that this is common, but come on now. Like, can we please? Can we not? Like, actually, like, can we not? There is no reason for this. Like, none whatsoever. Especially in romantic comedies, a genre that is literally supposed to be a sense of realistic fiction within settings that very much do exist. Is like Manhattan, where many people, it's supposed to be a romanticized genre in the sense of a lot of this probably wouldn't happen, and if it does, you are either chosen by God for this to happen, or you just happen to have your head in your clouds a little bit too much. But basically, what I'm saying is, why does it feel like every single romantic comedy that has come out this year, especially by Netflix, seem to be something that looks straight out of a commercial? Like, if I wanted this many filters, if I wanted to look at Anne Hathaway's face and see no pores, I would have just watched a commercial with Anne Hathaway in it. I really would have just done that. She could have just done the freaking Capital One thing like Jennifer Garner and Samuel L. Jackson got. It could have been just that and we would have been straight. But no, y'all decide to put this filter over it, and now the second movie for The Devil Wears Prada is looking like it's straight out of a Zara ad. Like, can we please? And even when it comes to product placements in movies, can we make them a little less overt? Because even when I was watching a movie that is not a romantic comedy, but I consider it to be a very heartfelt movie, even when I was watching The Help, it is very obvious that it is very, if you know how sponsors work in movies, it's obvious that the movie is sponsored by Coca-Cola. But without but even if it was just the Coca-Cola bottles in like the frame or in the hands of somebody else, and it's just being like, people are just drinking it and it's perfectly fine, nobody is questioning and thinking like, oh, this is an ad. Versus He's All That, where you see the core water bottles in the frame, like very distinctly, like in the frame, and it's like they're not even doing anything with them. Like, they're just sitting there on the freaking cafeteria table. And it's just like, really, bruh? Like, for real, this what we doing? Like, where are the film writers? Where are the directors? Where are the producers that genuinely want to produce a film solely for the sake of creativity and not for a profit or for sponsorship? Like, where are they at? Which brings me to a quote that was said by Nikki DiMartino, who was formerly of the YouTube channel Nikki and Gabby, before the two of them ended up just developing their own identities and their own YouTube channels. Something that she said about being on the internet in the 2010s versus being on the internet now is the fact that people were on the internet to be creative and people were on the internet now to seemingly have a career. And I feel like, unfortunately, that has become the case with a lot of film and a lot of romantic comedies in general. And it's really sad to see. As somebody who genuinely wants to pursue this, not just as their career because they want to have a career in this space, but also as somebody who genuinely loves creativity and happens to express that God-given creativity through writing, through wanting to be a screenwriter, through wanting to be a journalist, through wanting to be an author, and just genuinely is on the internet because she also loves creativity to express here, which is why I'm doing this essay right now. And to see how different people have taken the arts and seeing how nonsensical it has become in terms of professionalism, in terms of how people are taking the arts seriously as a whole, is something that genuinely disappoints me. And I feel like that is the overarching theme of not just romantic comedies, but also just film in general. And it's really sad to witness, and especially in the age where we have AI doing summaries of YouTube videos, doing summaries of films and things like that, instead of having like even like the death of the film critic, which that could be an essay in and of itself. Let me know in the comment section if y'all want me to do an essay on the death of the film critic. But yeah, it sucks overall to see, especially when this was a genre that offered so many people hope for romance in times of desperation. Like, a lot of romantic comedies started to become popular within the 80s and the 90s, and especially towards the late 90s with another economic recession. Like, where is the hope in film? Where's the hope in romantic comedies? Because if you ask me, there is no reason as to why it has been 5 years into the decade, about to be 6 years come January 1st of 2026, and barely any movies that I have watched in film in general, in my opinion, are worth icon status automatically. There is no reason for that whatsoever. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And when you subscribe, you better click that notification bell so you do not miss a single time I post. And yeah, that's the end of this video. Love you guys very much. See ya next time. Bye!